On a dark rural highway, the wind rustles through the trees and the distant hum of a car engine grows louder. It was a cold November night, and John Miller was making his way home after visiting family in a small town near Parkersburg, West Virginia. He had driven this route dozens of times before, but tonight, something felt different.
What's with the radio?
The radio, which had been playing soft country music, suddenly cut to static. John fiddled with the dial, trying to get the signal back, but nothing. The air felt thick, and a growing unease settled over him. That's when he saw it. Just ahead, standing motionless by the side of the road, was a man, tall, still, and smiling. The headlights washed over the figure, but John couldn't make out any details, just that unsettling smile.
What is someone doing out here at this hour?
John's foot instinctively hovered over the brake pedal, unsure whether to stop. But before he could decide, the figure raised a hand, slowly, as if beckoning him. It was as if time slowed. The man's expression didn't change, his eyes, dark and emotionless, locked onto John's, and then, without a word, he began walking toward the car. John's instincts screamed at him to drive away, to leave the strange man behind, but something held him there. A calm, almost soothing voice filled his head, not through the radio, not spoken aloud, but in his mind.
Do not be afraid. I mean no harm. My presence here is not to cause you distress.
Who are you? What do you want? Why are you here?
The voice returned, this time with a name that would stay with John for the rest of his life. It was a name that carried weight, a name that seemed to echo in the very air around him.
My name is Indrid Cold. I've come to speak with you, John. There are things you need to know, things that only you can understand. I've come to speak with you. There is much to discuss, and time is of the essence.
The air around John felt heavy, like a weight pressing down on his chest. It was as if the very atmosphere had thickened, making it hard to breathe, hard to think. He wanted to flee, but he couldn't. His feet felt rooted to the ground, as if some unseen force was holding him in place. Cold's voice was oddly reassuring, though John couldn't explain why. There was a calmness to it, a sense of peace that seemed to seep into his very soul. Against his better judgment, he rolled down the window. And that's when the man approached, closer, until he stood just outside the car. The proximity made John's heart race, but he couldn't look away.
You are one of the few who can hear me. This is a rare gift, John, and it comes with great responsibility. I have been watching, waiting for the right moment. You are curious, John. Your curiosity is what drew me to you. You seek answers to things you do not yet understand. You have questions that no one else can answer, and that is why I am here.
John felt his pulse quicken. The intensity of the moment was overwhelming, and he could feel his heart pounding in his chest. The way Cold spoke wasn't normal. There were no words exchanged, no sound, just thoughts. It was as if their minds were connected, sharing a silent conversation. And those thoughts seemed to know John more intimately than any stranger should. It was as if Cold had access to his deepest fears and desires.
What are you? How do you know so much about me?
I come from far away, a place you would not comprehend. My world is different from yours, in ways you cannot imagine. I am here to learn from you, and perhaps you can learn from me. There is much we can teach each other if you are willing to listen. The universe is vast, John, and full of mysteries. You are but a small part of it, yet you have the potential to understand so much more. Will you join me on this journey? Will you open your mind to the possibilities that lie beyond your understanding?
John took a deep breath. The decision he was about to make would change his life forever. He could feel it in his bones. With a sense of resolve, he extended his hand. The journey was about to begin. John tried to speak, to ask more, but his words were caught in his throat. He wanted to know why he was chosen, why tonight of all nights. But before he could muster the courage to ask, Indrid Cold simply stepped back. And just like that, Cold was gone. No footsteps, no sound, just an empty stretch of road ahead. The only sign he had ever been there was the pounding in John's chest and the static still buzzing through the car radio. Now let's transition to the facts section. The encounter John Miller experienced is strikingly similar to the accounts given by another man over half a century ago. This parallel between two seemingly unrelated individuals, separated by decades, raises intriguing questions about the nature of their experiences and the mysterious figure they both encountered. In November of 1966, Woodrow Derenberger, a humble salesman from West Virginia, claimed to have met the mysterious figure known as Indrid Cold. This encounter took place on a lonely stretch of highway, forever altering Derenberger's life and sparking widespread interest. Derenberger, much like John, described meeting a tall, smiling man who communicated telepathically. This form of communication, devoid of spoken words, added an eerie and otherworldly dimension to their encounters, making them even more unforgettable. According to his story, Cold asked about human life, expressing an almost childlike curiosity. He inquired about everyday activities, human emotions, and societal norms, as if he were an outsider trying to understand the intricacies of human existence. Derenberger's encounter sparked fascination and fear in the UFO and paranormal communities. His detailed account, combined with his sincere demeanor, led many to believe in the possibility of extraterrestrial visitors. Cold told Derenberger that he came from a planet called Lanalos, part of a distant galaxy. This revelation added a cosmic dimension to the encounter, suggesting that Cold was not just an alien visitor, but a representative of an entirely different world. He even promised to return in the future. This promise left Derenberger and many others wondering about the intentions and future plans of this enigmatic visitor. This wasn't the only sighting. Over the years, numerous individuals across the country have reported similar encounters, describing a figure that matches Cold's description. Others across the country have claimed to have seen a figure matching Cold's description, tall, human-like, and always with that unnatural grin. These sightings have been reported in various locations, adding to the mystery and intrigue surrounding Indrid Cold. Some believe Indrid Cold is connected to other phenomena, such as the famous Mothman sightings, which occurred around the same time in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. The Mothman, a creature with glowing red eyes and large wings, was seen by numerous witnesses, leading some to speculate about a possible connection between these two mysterious entities. The stories of John Miller and Woodrow Derenberger, along with countless other sightings, continue to captivate and mystify. They remind us that there are still many unknowns in our world, and perhaps beyond it. The legacy of these encounters lives on, fueling curiosity and debate among those who seek to understand the unexplained. As we look to the stars and ponder the vastness of the universe, the stories of Indrid Cold and other mysterious figures serve as a reminder that we may not be alone. Whether these encounters are figments of imagination or glimpses into a larger cosmic reality, they continue to inspire wonder and speculation. The truth, as always, remains out there waiting to be discovered. But is there any truth to these claims? The story of Indrid Cold has intrigued and puzzled many for decades. It raises questions about the nature of reality and the limits of human understanding.
Skeptics argue that Indrid Cold is nothing more than a story, a reflection of 1960s fascination with extraterrestrial life and UFOs. They point to the cultural context of the time, filled with space race excitement and a burgeoning interest in science fiction. They believe Derenberger's tale could have been influenced by the era's growing interest in the unknown. The 1960s were a time of exploration, both in space and in the imagination, with countless books, movies, and TV shows exploring the possibility of life beyond Earth.
Others, however, maintain that Indrid Cold is real. They argue that the consistency of the sightings and the detailed descriptions provided by witnesses lend credibility to the claims. Some suggest he's an extraterrestrial observer, sent to study humanity and report back to his home planet. This theory is supported by the numerous UFO sightings reported around the same time, while others believe he could be an interdimensional being, capable of moving between different planes of existence. This idea opens up a whole new realm of possibilities, suggesting that our universe is just one of many, here to watch humanity from the shadows. These theories, though varied, all share a common thread: the belief that there is more to our world than meets the eye. Despite the countless theories, one thing remains certain: Indrid Cold's legend continues to captivate and terrify those who hear his name. Whether a product of imagination or a glimpse into a hidden reality, the story of Indrid Cold endures, sparking curiosity and debate. Whether you believe in Indrid Cold or not, his presence in paranormal lore is undeniable. Perhaps he's still out there, watching, waiting for his next encounter.